Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to our morning session. You've got Gil live here from your wholesaling, lease options, and marketing mastermind group. A big good morning. Happy Memorial Day. Hoping everybody is having a fantastic long weekend. You should be able to see the screen clearly, and hopefully the audio is coming out loud and clear as well. We wanted to open the session here today just in case you guys had any urgent questions, feedback, or clarifications. Some of you may already be out traveling. We have some of our staff and fellow office mates that are out and about, but at the very least, we do handle the marketing for a lot of you investors, sending out text and emails, sending out your direct mail campaigns, managing your cash buyer lists, and all that good stuff. At the very least, we wanted to open the session here if in case you had any urgent questions, feedback, or clarifications so we can keep you moving forward. We don't have any specific topics to cover today. I did move Eric's session, and we're going to have him on tomorrow's 9 a.m. session. We're going to be talking to Eric Infinite Torrente. He is a wholesaler that lives in New York. Actually pretty cool. He flew all the way here to California to hang out with us last week and exchanged some really nice tips and strategies. So he's got some case studies for you on live transactions that he is currently working on virtually. Okay, he lives in New York. He does not, I think he rarely or does a extremely small, maybe like 1% of his business in New York. Majority of it comes from other markets. As you know, we are the type of marketing and wholesaling group that does deals locally, and we do specialize in other markets as well. This is thanks to a lot of our acquisition managers and investors that we partner with here during these sessions. So if you have any questions, go ahead and enter it in the GoToWebinar control panel. We'll keep it open to hang out here with the group. And if you guys have some fun stories over the weekend, anything that has to do with real estate, or if you just wanted to touch base with the office, go ahead and type it in the GoToWebinar control panel. I do see our regulars live on the session this morning. Bill, how are things going on your end?
Hey, Gil, things are going well.
Fantastic. Did you take the whole weekend off? Was there any real estate activity on your end? What's the latest?
Oh, I went out and I made an offer on I was doing a drive-by, and I made an offer on a rent-to-own deal. And, was the seller decided they wanted to wait. They wanted to try it for a couple months to see if they could sell it retail. And, what's funny is the real estate, and I told the guy this, says, look, your real estate agent's putting the property on the market $10,000 over the market. Do you really think you're going to sell it? Well, we want to give it a try. I said, well, how about how about if I stay in contact with you and, how long is your listing? He said 3 months. Well, good. I'll stay in contact with you. And at the end of 3 months, when it probably doesn't sell, are you ready to do business with me? He says, yeah.
Nice. Nice. And
I mean, the properties that, they're putting it at above retail and basically a war zone. So they bought this property, and they did a great job on the rehab. So they bought this property in war zone. They got a good price on it. They put a whole bunch of money in it, way more than they should have. And now they've got too much into the property, and they're trying to sell it for what they have into it plus the real estate commission. So the chances are, I mean, the property's never going to appraise. The appraisal will probably come in at least $12,000 to $13,000 less than they've listed it for. So the likelihood is, even if they did get a buyer, in all likelihood, it's not going to sell because the appraisal is going to come in too low. So they're going to sit there. I said, y'all are wasting about $800 a month on rent. So why don't you just take $800 and walk out to the middle of the street and throw it into the wind? Because that's what you're doing.
And
I said, or we can do business today. And I said, why don't we do this? Why don't we? I'll go ahead and put it out on a rent-to-own, and we'll start marketing it. You make the final decision on the tenant buyer. And if you find a retail buyer in the meantime, I'll cancel our deal. So they're thinking about that part of it. I think they're probably still going to try it retail for a little while. But that's basically my conversation. So, I got a good report of the guy. He laughed when I told him to throw the $2,400 into the wind. I said, if you're going to do that, let me know. I'll run that out there in the street with a basket to catch the money as it floats down, right? And he laughed.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of using statements or saying those lines, right? It's to take a little bit of, poke at the seller a little bit, get them to laugh, get a reaction out of them. It is, to some extent, it is true. We don't want to piss them off, but at the same time, make sure that you put it into perspective, that they understand, what they're going through. And I mean, are they really going to list it over market price and the going rate when there's nicer houses in the neighborhood? You want to make sure your seller understands the reality of the situation, and get him to that point where, yeah, we know we're really being unreasonable or kind of unrealistic on that thing, but we're still going to give it a try. I mean, you can cut down a redwood tree with a spoon, it'd probably just take you like 100 years. But it can be done, And so, all right, so for sale by owners, we do have somebody that is just farming the MLS, actually, Johnny. And they actually pull 90-day and expired listings and send them a lease options marketing piece, right? Or they will just contact the realtor directly so that they don't upset the agent. Some of you guys are doing deals in territories and markets where there is a hyperactive real estate group or broker association. We've had investors have a difficult time just because there will be agents that will start marketing campaigns letting people know that or spreading message, do not do business with anyone that is not licensed in real estate. Now, pretty much unfair, but those are some of the challenges you may end up facing in your local areas. So if that's the scenario that you're in, let us know, because you may be able to just do deals virtually. It may be better for you to spend your marketing dollars in a territory or an area with less competition, or even if there is competition in that territory, when you do have a motivated seller or a homeowner that is willing to have a conversation and see what his options are, okay? You want to place that type of lead in the hands of an investor or an agent slash broker who can structure multiple offers and just even list the house, right? Even here in California, agents and brokers that I've personally come across are willing to pay a $500 marketing and referral fee to somebody that is a property scout or a bird dog. If you are licensed, then you don't have to worry. You can have somebody do all the work and collect the commission at the end of the day. I know for a fact that with one of our investors, this is their business model in San Diego. They do 100% of their deals virtually, and they just keep outsourcing it to a local realtor in the area. And because it's a Southern California market, the spreads are bigger. Even if they aren't closing month after month, they're closing enough where it's going to last them for 2-3 months, worth of profit or worth in revenue. Steve, what's the latest in your group coaching? Or I don't think you guys are you guys having a group coaching call today and talking to leads, or did you guys reschedule that for tomorrow?
I haven't rescheduled it, so I think I'll probably open it up. I haven't really decided if I'm gonna make a ton of calls. We'll see what's gonna happen.
Awesome. All right. So if you guys are on standby for that session, what time are you looking to open that one up today, Steve?
Normal time. I think that's 11 o'clock today.
11 o'clock. Everyone's like, what's normal time? What's that? All right, so 11 o'clock today, we'll have our group leads and group coaching session. Those are live leads that we call on. We show you how we manage and use our CRM tools, how to navigate it, and really just simplify the process. It just cracks me up at how there are entire courses around having to use your CRM tool. And I think it's just overcomplicated, right? A lead comes in, you call them, you put some notes, you create a reminder to call the person back in a week, 2 days, a month, and move on to the next lead. All right. You don't need multiple windows. You don't need multiple applications or multiple softwares to manage all of this. Before we started using Podio, we and our top students and investors in our programs simply used Excel and Google Docs to manage our leads and all the follow-ups, right? So I caution you guys not to get too complicated on your CRM tools. Keep it really, really simple. We're actually in the process, and this one we're really excited about since we are going to be releasing and coming up with our own CRM tool, and we're absolutely excited about that. We're talking full integration in between capturing a lead, going into your CRM tool. It is one tool for your squeeze pages. It is one tool for your website. It manages your text campaigns, your email campaigns, all your follow-up sequences. You can link your agents and your brokers. For example, we were actually talking to one of the creators that's helping move this software along, and investors, buyers, cash buyers, depending on who you're targeting, will be able to text in or opt into your list or send an email and opt into your list. Now, if you are a lease option investor, for example, okay, you can have a bandit sign advertising rent-to-own properties, okay? Rent-to-own, dream home, bad credit, okay, move in right away, right? Text, and then a certain number, or email a certain number, or call a certain number. And once they opt into that, into your CRM tool, you can link your local loan officer, your local mortgage broker company, who will get an instant notification at the same time you do saying, hey, Steve just signed up on your tenant buyers list. Go ahead and give them a call. So your loan officer, your mortgage broker, the guy you refer people to get finance to buy the homes, right, can work with that lead at the same time and help process and move more of your transactions forward. Now, even if that person didn't qualify for a property right now, simply by marketing consistently, and we still have investors that have done 100% of their business off of Craigslist, right? You will be able to monetize and recoup your marketing costs through referral fees and by helping these guys get into other homes. So that's one channel to use it with, right? Another strategy is, let's say, cash buyers, for example, right? You can have your cash buyers opt into that particular list. Your office gives them a call, and there's an autoresponder sequence already built in. Right? So it's designed for the virtual wholesaler / investor. And we wanted to bring everything. I mean, the goal of that CRM tool and that software is to bring everything into one place. And price point wise, I'm glad you asked, Michelle. Price point wise, it's actually going to be more economical and cheaper than having a GetResponse or an Aweber account. You're going to pay for web hosting. And then there's the CRM tool. So price point wise, it's about $1,000 in savings in compared to what everything else is there in the marketplace. So we're excited about that. We're looking at, I think the release date that we were given is going to be in a couple months. So in the meantime, you know, we'll keep getting feedback from you guys on different features you're looking for and the type of training, so that we can customize our training and make sure we set it up so when we release the software, we can focus on those particular features that you guys are interested. Nice. Toya here has a scenario for us. It looks like Toya's been working her leads over the weekend. Good job to you. Toya, I have you unmuted. Do you mind jumping on the mic, or are you in the middle of a barbecue or family breakfast? All right, let me type in the scenario here. In the meantime, guys, while I get this question typed in for everybody and put it into the notes, our replays from last week's sessions are up and available, which include, last week the biggest highlight was where to recruit your bird dogs, how to do it in an automated fashion, where you can find these people for free, where you can network, and how we've been able to do it. This strategy alone, just through bird dogs in February, brought us a deal which we had closed on for $92,000 from escrow. You can see the screenshots on there. We back everything up. With regards to the Meetup network and our social gatherings or networking, whether you start your own or you join one in your local area. This particular little strategy right here brought us an extra 8 wholesaling transactions, 0 marketing costs on our end, and access to relationships and private money investors up to 1.5 million, right? So hope you guys implement this stuff, because at the end of the day, if without implementation, nothing really is going to happen. Steve took the time to upload the assignment of contract document inside of our Facebook forum, so I hope you guys do check that out. And if you do need it, just download and check out the file section, since the documents are still in the file section of our Facebook members only group. Okay, so let me pull up this scenario here from Toya, and get some of our panelists ready here to take a couple stabs at this, give you a couple scenarios and ways to handle the lead. Some of you guys were coming across a lot of properties where the owners came and ended up owning the property via a quit claim deed. They're not quite sure what to do, how it works, but they are open to talking to an investor. Bill gave you guys the transition lines and some tips on how you can build rapport with the seller, educate them on what the whole quit claim process is. Again, enough for you to sound like you know what you're talking about, to demonstrate value. You do not have to be an expert, and be able to move that seller forward. If you're not quite sure how to structure the deal, contact Bill Rafter so that he can help consult on the deal, or just work out a joint venture fee that is fair at the end of the day. Some of you guys are already part of our group coaching program. It's $1 a day, actually much less. And you do have the option to joint venture. You're not required to, but if you needed some help and somebody to structure your deals, make the presentation for you, even get on the phone with the sellers, just a friendly reminder, you do have access to that kind of stuff. Have you had a situation where there are multiple heirs on the property? I've had lots of those, but the heirs do not talk or get along. Surprise, surprise. I have a situation where the administrator wants to sell, but he hasn't talked to his sister in 9 years and does not want to deal with her. Both siblings live in a different state than the property, and the property has been vacant for 9 years. This is a situation that screams motivation. It's got all the it sounds like it's got all the right reasons and describes, an ideal motivated seller. Now, you will have to chummy up to these guys to work it out, but this is a scenario that I would prioritize and pursue. How should I handle a situation like this? This is a virtual market, okay? So, Bill, I'll go ahead and let you take a stab at this one first. What are your thoughts, and what are some ways to handle this?
Well, I mean, obviously, the easiest way to handle it would be to, make an offer and get the parties to agree to the cash offer, and then instruct the escrow company or the title company or closing attorney to issue separate checks to the various siblings, so that each one gets their own check cut right out of closing. So that would be the easiest and the simplest way to do it. If that's not a possibility, maybe it lends to having the seller wait for their money for 6 months until you get the property rehabbed, and then sell the property at that point retail and pay off the owner financing note, after the rehab is complete. Then under those circumstances, you get the sellers to agree to take a first mortgage with 2 notes. Let's say we're talking about the old $100,000 property. Maybe it's worth 200. You bought it for 100. So you have the 2 siblings, the person locally that you're dealing with and the sibling out of area, is you execute a mortgage, note mortgage in their favor for 100 grand, and the mortgage is secured by 2 notes, one for 50 to one party, one for 50 to the other. And so they agree to hold the paper at 0 interest or at some interest, whatever you can negotiate. And at the same time, you go ahead and rehab the property. You pay for the rehab out of your own pocket. And then you go ahead and you buy the property, and they're simply now note holders now. And so you buy the property, you rehab it, you sell it retail. And then when when you sell it retail, you pay off the underlying, mortgage and the two notes for the 100,000, and then you make whatever the difference is between what you owe and what you sold it for. So those are probably the two best scenarios to handle that circumstance. Back to you.
Toya, with this situation, I got a story for you, a quick one. There was a deal here in Southern California that we were working on, and this is a true story. Actually, Susie, this was a deal Susie and I were working on together and wanted to pursue. Anyway, the father had built up a portfolio of 9 properties, multiple businesses, and had set up a trust and estate to take care of the family moving forward. I mean, he put all the kids onto an allowance and, parceled off some of the rental properties so that everyone would get something. Anyway, there must have been a miscommunication somewhere down the line, but instead of the family or the administrators taking over the trust and managing it effectively and living within the resources and means of the trust, they had taken hard money loans on 5 to 7 of the rental properties, went to Vegas in one weekend, rented a penthouse, and just blew all the cash in one weekend. They bought 3 new Beamers as part of their weekend spending spree, and one by one the hard money lenders started taking everything. And so the siblings, the siblings that went on this gambling spree, obviously they were all in one group and they were all allied to one another. There was one sibling that was left out, and this guy was in jail for like the last 3 years. And this whole weekend Vegas shenanigans all went down the weekend. I think the very same month he was going to be released from jail, and he didn't know what was going on. By the time, he only got wind or heard about, obviously, his father passing away and that there's a trust and an estate to take care of and take over. But when he came into the picture, there was 2 rental properties left. The businesses and everything else had been taken by the hard money lenders. So in this particular scenario, the only way I could move this lead forward was to attempt to talk to the other sister or to the other heirs and people involved or the other decision makers. I'll get their permission to talk to them and go direct, because they don't want to talk to them, right? And they may very well be interested in selling, especially since this thing has been vacant for 5 years. This is that lead. It looks like a lead that is worth a ton of money. You could be sitting on a gold mine on this one, or at least a perfectly good lead or deal. So try to get the contact information, get their permission to talk to the other family members so that you can find out what is going on. Steve, you handled a virtual deal on the East Coast a couple months ago with multiple heirs on that particular situation. Now, some of them got along, some of them didn't. How did you communicate or end up moving that forward? Because eventually they did end up signing the purchase contract. But how did you handle that? Multiple heirs, all on the different page. Who were you talking to at the time, and how did you guys get that contract? You're on.
Yeah, we just I generally try and find the one. Generally, try and find the one that's the decision maker. There's usually one person that's kind of got the best rapport with the other siblings, or kind of taking control of it. Same thing in this situation. So we send the paperwork to them, and then have them round up everybody and get the signatures. That's generally how I handle it.
Now, it isn't rare, right? Let's say they don't, if they don't have contact numbers, Toya, then send out a letter to the other parties involved. If we can't get hold of the parents, then sometimes we'll try to get to talk to the kids, right? And of course, they're old. They're not like they're 7 or anything, but they're adults. But sometimes the kids, at that point, it's been 9 years, nobody's done anything with it, and so your decision makers in that case might now be the children, or they may be able to have a heart-to-heart with their parents and get that whole situation resolved. We had a probate deal here in Los Angeles where the mom was the person on title, but she would not do anything unless her son helped out, or she wanted us to talk to the son and to, get his approval and thumbs up. And so we had to build that relationship with the son, came out to the property, and constantly followed up with him, right? Now, because that's a virtual deal, you can only do so much on the phone side from where you're at. If they are, I don't know, does somebody live locally in that area? It might be worth referring this out to somebody that we know in that territory who can talk to the neighbors, who might know somebody in that particular area or is familiar with that neighborhood, right? We've had people where we couldn't get a hold of the decision maker, but the neighbors knew the family, right? Everybody knew everybody in that area. They knew where they had moved to. They still, the neighbors are the ones that actually pick up the mail and check on the property, right? So that might be another way for you guys to move this particular lead or seller forward. The administrator is paying all the property taxes and code violations, so he doesn't want to give any of the proceeds to the sister. You know what? That's okay. I wouldn't really, I wouldn't focus on that. I mean, you know that. We might have to address that later on. Maybe they don't get anything. Maybe they get something very little. All right? But I would really focus on trying to connect with the other people involved in the deal and try to get dialogue and conversation going. If it's not among them, it's with my office, my side, so that we can attempt to move this one forward, right? And then depending on where it is, you might have to send somebody locally to try to move that particular lead or deal. Any other scenarios? Go ahead and type it in. I see quite a few new faces and names on these sessions. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Looks like we got Chris D, Dan N, Gary, haven't seen you here in a while. We got Herschel on the session. Some new faces, some new names. How's it going, guys? Mr. Rodriguez, looks like you were able to call in successfully today. Fantastic. I hope you can hear the audio. It says that you have to call in and enter a PIN, but hopefully the audio is coming out loud and clear on your end. Mr. Stephen Wise, June is coming up, so hopefully you've made a decision on your direct mail campaign so that we can launch and send that out for you. Okay, we've got a fun situation here for everybody, or at least a series that we're going to launch in the next couple weeks. We are going to go into a new market, into a new territory, and we're actually going to be sharing with you guys the exact numbers that we'll be going through in terms of how many units sent, what our call and response rates were, and the types of deals that are popping out. My personal goal that we've set for this, and a lot of it came about simply by coordinating with some of the other investors that are out there who are interested in doing deals with us. We want to crack at least $60,000 in wholesaling fees before the year ends. And we're testing some stuff where we may even, some of the guys that we do business with, they just love to travel and they love to do deals. And so, crazy idea is that we'll actually move into your market and territory to open up a full-on wholesaling operation. And so we are actually going to be testing this in the next few months with one of our other investors that we have been coordinating and working with. For those of you that have been hounding us about funding our rehab projects, funding our deals, becoming a money partner, or putting your money to work for you, we've got some great news and we've made some progress there. We are partnering up, and we now have a vendor who can effectively handle and structure all these joint venture relationships. And we want to make sure that you guys are set up in real estate the right way, that you have the right entities and LLCs involved, and you understand how it all works, right? Because we do get a lot of investors that will, hey, we got 10,000, we got 50,000, can we just give it to you and put the money to work? And it's not really as simple as accepting the check, depositing it in the business account, and putting the money to work that way. So we now will be working with a vendor who can set up your LLCs so that we can effectively do business together. Everybody's protected the way they should be, and you've got a business, that you can run, whether you're a private lender or if you're going to go into wholesaling. We're really excited about that. So more details are going to be released over the next month or so with regards to that particular program. Noe says loud and clear, fantastic, definitely some good stuff. All right. Sayaka, I typed it in the GoToWebinar control panel. We're going to have Eric Infinite Torrente on tomorrow's session. He is a virtual wholesaler. He actually won the, we have like a mini award we give out, and we do like an open house or a networking. We'll do dinner and hang out with anybody that wants to come out, get started in real estate, find out more about our company and what we do. And we do this on a weekly basis, and we do it on Meetup. All right. And he actually came out just for our meetup, which is absolutely awesome. Now, I know he didn't fly to LA just for our meetup. The guy's a beast. He spent the rest of the week going to the local county courthouse pulling records. And so, that's a kind of tenacity and I will work while I am traveling to make money type of mentality that Eric has, which is awesome. And so he's wholesale deals in multiple states, multiple territories, and we're going to pick his brain on what's been working for him. Again, if he can do it, you can do it, right? We don't want to overcomplicate this whole wholesaling thing and really how it works. So, yes, our marketing packages are updated. Jenny, go ahead and check it out. Before you do get on the phone with us or, schedule a consultation with myself, my office, or Bill, take the time to review the marketing packages first, because a lot of the questions that people will ask us before they watch the videos are the same pieces of information that you can already find on the website. And so when we get on the phone, we want you guys to be able to, ask questions beyond, what are the features, or what do I get, right? Or how does it work? Or, do you guys have sessions where you can show me how to talk to sellers? Check out those particular pages so that when we talk, we have, we're addressing other questions relevant to the business, and we can really get to the heart of what you need, right? I have found that most people that are shopping around for courses shouldn't actually be purchasing courses. They need to be purchasing marketing for their business. 100% of all the real estate educational programs that you will purchase, whether for $1 or $50,000, right, will all lead to the same conclusion and tell you the same thing. You will need to market for your leads and deals, right? And so if you already have purchased a course or a program out there, you don't need to buy another one, right? Refer to that course or program, and let's do some marketing together, okay? Or launch your marketing. Let us do it for you if you have not been able to effectively send it out on a consistent basis, so that the marketing gets done and we can do deals, right? Jimmy says, Gil, I went to the site and I cannot find the notes. I just see the preview. Jimmy, there is a tab next to the video that says notes. Go ahead and click on that, my friend, and you will find the notes section. All right. So the Craigslist ad is there. The sites and tools are also on there as well. Gil, you had a session last week where you talked about some skip tracing vendors. Where can we find that? Amy, you can find that in the replay on 5.20.14, okay? I gave you some skip tracing companies that you can check out. Some are very economical, $19 a month. Others will cost you an arm and a leg per lead. It just depends at the end of the day on the quality, right? Now, let's set a realistic expectation for everybody here when it comes to skip tracing. Unless you're willing to pay a private investigator to specifically find this person for you and what their entire life has been for the last couple of years, these skip tracing vendors do the very best that they can for the monthly fees that you pay, right? So if you're going with a $19.95 vendor, chances are, you may not get a hold of the best phone number for them right away, right? Or the resources may be limited. When it comes to skip tracing, that's really how it works, where not all the information may be 100% accurate. But you will only do skip tracing on leads that are gold. Leads like toy situation, okay? Property vacant for 9 years. Family is not getting along. Real estate is just sitting there wasting away, and there's somebody paying for the taxes and the upkeep of the property. I would apply some skip tracing to this particular lead. right? You don't skip trace, for example, a lead that you just pulled from Craigslist, right? Without talking to that owner first and understanding the scenario or the situation, right? Skip tracing should be one of the last things you do on your leads with your marketing. Okay, and it only applies to leads that are high quality or is a great situation where it screams motivation, or that there is a genuine interest and perfectly good reason for them that they should sell. There is a problem that is screaming at you in the face, and sometimes guys, they may not realize that. Okay, and you really have to be patient with it. One of our investors, Kyle, you hear me bring up Kyle, every once in a while, and absolutely awesome. I have been doing deals with Kyle for like the last, I don't know, 2, maybe even 3 years, and I've never met Kyle before. But we've been doing deals together. He actually came out to Los Angeles recently, and for the first time we've actually met each other. I didn't really want to go out and meet him at first because I wanted to keep the whole mystery in our relationship, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just pretty cool. We've been doing deals with Kyle. He'll mail us the check, we'll mail him the check. No qualms or problems. Everybody's doing business virtually, and I thought that was pretty cool. So now that I've met him, it's kind of shattered that whole little, we've never met each other, but we always do business. But that's opened more opportunities here for us. The reason why I bring up Kyle is because he opened a probate, or started working a probate lead last year, okay? And it took almost a full year just to get through the whole probate process, and getting all the sellers on board, right? But Kyle did spend every single day for the last year calling them, hounding them. It was a courtesy call once a month, 12 phone calls that he would place with the sellers, right? Following up. And now that deal is under contract, and they're looking to wholesale it for a $10,000 fee. All right? Killer follow-up. Situation screams motivation. They had to dig up some owner information as well to try to get a hold of other people, right? But at the end of the day, again, very simple, straightforward process. Do not complicate it, right? And don't be fooled by all the fancy schmancy sales stuff that you guys see nowadays with all the courses. Wholesaling is a simple process. It's not easy, right? But it is a simple process. Henry Serrano says, amen, with a bunch of exclamation points. Henry, I'm going to try to unmute you. I know you are constantly on the go, but let's see if we can get an audio going on your end. Test, mic test.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Are you still on the road? You took the weekend off? What's the latest on the real estate side?
Well, actually, this is a working weekend. So I'm actually here in Fresno.
Nice.
And one of the things I'm going to tell you, Gil, you hit it right on the nose just in regards with marketing, you guys. That is probably the first thing that anybody should do, is study more about marketing than buying all these other courses and spending all these other monies on these other programs. So you hit it right on the nose just in regards with marketing. That is so true, Gil. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to put a little plug here for Gil. Gil is probably, I would say, one of the best in delivering the marketing and what he says he's going to do, you guys. I think, Gil, we've known each other now coming on, what, almost 6 years, I think?
Give or take.
You know, when you and I first met?
Yeah, I mean, I had purchased a Claude Diamond How to Talk to Sellers series, connected with you, and you saw, yeah, you were there right in my early stages when I first got started in real estate.
Yep, very, very early. So, but you're exactly right, Gil. You've hit it right on the nose. You know, marketing is very key. You bring on great people. You know, Bill has a wealth of information, and people should use him as much as possible, just in different scenarios and deal making. And you brought up a very good point, Gil, in regards with joint ventures, you guys. That's the best thing you guys can do to be able to leverage your business. You know, I'd love to sit here and split deals with everybody all across the country, you know, if it makes sense, because it just leverages it and it makes sense to be able to do it.
Awesome. Now, in your particular, you guys are working on a couple of really good-looking leads right now. One rehab deal, and oddly enough, we talked about building out a property scout network, building out a bird dog network. One of your students is applying that strategy. He is now picking up his. They sourced a really good lead or a deal And I don't know, how did you guys get a hold of that seller? Because it kind of relates to the whole, do we skip trace? How do we find them? We have an abandoned property. How did you guys get a hold of that seller? Because you are now in negotiations with the seller over that property, right?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, we got it, and like what Bill had mentioned, what he did this weekend, they ended up doing a drive-by. Just driving around the neighborhoods and saw that this house was vacant, and that's one of the things that they were able to do. They went ahead and get this though. They knocked on the neighbor's door and asked them if they knew who the owner was, and they said yes. He's on this, he's just right down on another town, maybe 10, 15 minutes away, and actually got the information of where that person lived that owned the house, and went there and talked to the owners. Because we had a phone number, but we kept on getting a fax number, but we just finally ended up going down and meeting with that seller at that point right now. So the way that he went about it is just driving by the neighborhood and found an abandoned house, and went from there and talked to the neighbors to get more information.
Now, we don't obviously want to, we always speak well of our competitors and the other programs out there, but I do have to share this because this is one of those, and I can't because I have gone to a Trump seminar and gotten trumped. But you're working right now with a first-time investor who paid an arm and a leg to go on a bus tour, right? And I mean, just a bus tour to look at rental properties, and unfortunately did not learn, or didn't have any concepts or training or tools to apply so that they could get started wholesaling. They spent a whole weekend talking theory, and again going on a bus tour. But now these guys have reached out to you, one of the local coaches and investors that we promote and talk about, real educators that actually do deals right alongside of you. Right now, please understand, if you're going to be working with our acquisition managers or joint venture partners like Bill and Henry, who have tons of experience in real estate, if they're going to consult or partner with you on the deal, of course, everybody should make money in the process on a fair split that works with everyone. But I can tell you, these guys aren't going to gouge you or take majority of your profits. That's not how they roll. And they have a long list of students and investors that both have just got started in real estate, or that they continue to consult for on high levels. Henry, you still work closely with the Rich Dad program, correct? On some of their investing strategies and marketing training.
Yes, I mean, actually, that's the other thing I do is I do talk and work with other organizations, and Rich Dad is one of them, and actually we're going to be speaking there in Seattle in June. So to answer your question, yes, but that's one of the things I explain at that point. I don't work for them, but we do talk at one of their events. But when I do talk to some of the the individuals who go through that Rich Dad course, I mean, the big thing that I stress to them is implementation. I mean, it's great going to these symposiums, these whole weekends learning, but you need to actually implement what you're learning at these events. So yes, that's true.
That is awesome, and yeah, it's crazy. This is the first time I'm hearing the part how you guys just knocked on the neighbor's door, and I was just saying earlier, sometimes you gotta just talk to the neighbors, because on those types of properties, it's normally the neighbors that handle the mail, right? They'll get it, or they'll keep an eye out for the property, and they you want to be careful when you deal with those guys, because they're also that guy or that old lady or that old dude who is watching the neighborhood like a hawk. He's the self-declared sheriff, so you do want to approach him real nice. Henry, now when you advise the student and the investor to go knock on the neighbor's door, what type of conversation were you recommending that they have, right? What did you tell them to say, what not to say, so that anybody that goes out into the field can keep that in mind, and again, encourage them that they can do it too. It doesn't have to be hard, and these are simple conversations that you can have with your leads. So what do they say? What do they not say? How do you guys prep somebody for something like this?
Well, in that situation, it's always afraid of, someone going up to a door and just knocking on it. And obviously there's apprehension from somebody on the other side opening it. At that point, you don't want to formally introduce yourself, and you say, look, I'm an investor. I'm interested in the property next door. I just want to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay, because I'm interested in possibly purchasing the property. And I think by opening that up, that starts sort of why you're there and what you're trying to accomplish. And from that point, it just depends. You want to ask a lot of open-ended questions, and you want to let them start to talk. And that's the important thing, because the more that they talk, the more comfortable they feel, the more trust they're going to feel in you, believe it or not. Even though you think it's counterintuitive, the more that they talk, it's the more rapport that you're actually building. And so that's what I typically instruct them. I just tell them to just briefly introduce yourself, why you're there, and what you're trying to do. And at that point, you let the neighbor talk. And then if they open up the door and still keep the screen, I mean, that's fine too. You want to keep your distance a little bit. I try to tell them, if they can, if they're married, if they have a spouse, to bring their spouse, because if a woman is typically with them, it's a lot more comfortable to talk to somebody than just with two guys knocking on the door. So in this situation, one of the partners happened to be a female, which was nice. So at that point, by being able to do that, that eases the comfort level a little bit. So that's the other thing. If it's, if you have a female partner, or if it's just, another gal that's just there by herself too, it's a little bit less apprehensive. The neighbors are more willing to open up the door from that standpoint. So typically what you just want to do is just introduce yourself and just state the reason why you're there and that you're interested in the property next door. And you kind of go from there and see if they talk from that standpoint. And then at that point, sometimes they open up and they tell the whole story. Sometimes they say, I don't know who it is. So it just depends from that standpoint. And I try to tell them, don't force as much as you can on them. If they don't have any information, just thank them. Leave your card and you say, hey, by the way, if the owner happens to stop by, here's my card. If you can give it to them, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And that's it. So you want to keep it very non-confrontational, very easy, and very open-ended from that point.
Nice. So definitely, and we've reviewed these on other sessions. It's the first time you're hearing it. It's okay to knock on the neighbor's door. Somebody here's typing in, I'm so worried that they're going to chase me out of the neighborhood because I'm trying to buy the house for cheap. Have you ever gotten chased out of the neighborhood? I personally do not know of a single person that has been chased out of a neighborhood for knocking on a door, trying to sell something, let alone try to inquire information about a beat-up eyesore in the neighborhood, which is hurting property values, right? You gotta put things into perspective here, guys, and look at it from the lens or the framework that this is an eyesore in the neighborhood. The rehab deal that we had done was starting to have some homeless people living in it, and some dubious characters going in late at night, getting real high, getting real drunk, and that's a danger to the families in the area. Right? So you as the investor look at it that way. You're actually helping out all the homeowners, all the families, all the old ladies that live alone, right, in that area by keeping the bad people out. A rehabber is going to go in there, they're going to restore the property or make it rent ready. Either way, they're going to fix it up and it's good for the neighborhood. Right? So look at it from that standpoint. There's somebody, take a look at Toya's situation. The way I look at this is, this is a seller that has a property that's been vacant for 9 years. That is a lot of pain. Toya, when I talk to this seller, I would ask them, so how much are the property taxes a year? Okay, about, let's say, $500. Okay, and how much are the other fees? Okay, so let's say $600, and it's been 9 years, so that's $5,400. And this is something I've heard Claude say, and I'm comfortable saying it now, and be like, man, my wife would kill me. Now, I'm not married yet, but so I would say something like, my girlfriend would kill me. $5,400? Gosh, Mr. Miss Seller, what could you do with that $5,400? Have you ever thought about just pocketing that? Or, would that help the family? Is that some savings? You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's not worth your while to sell the house. But that sounds like a lot of money that's going down the drain, right? And yes, it's okay to do that. You have to put it into perspective for them. Okay, that is your role. That's your job. You're not there to, try to shove a 10 cents dollar, under, down their throats. The reason why our sellers accept those offers is because they do understand the situation that they're in, and it does make sense. Okay. Yes, we can actually, you know what, Jimmy, we should handle that on a different scenario, right? So Jimmy here's asking, Gil, so I've been able to get sellers to accept pricing, lowball offers, but at the same time, I get them calling me back because there's a buyer's remorse feeling to it. We'll tackle that on tomorrow's session. I know, Eric, I've specifically set aside some questions addressing that. How to preserve the offer or your deal. In fact, how to set the expectation with the homeowner where he will fight and justify why he accepted that 10, 20 cents on the dollar offer, right? So we'll have those conversations on how you can do that and preserve your leads. Now, maybe your offers are just way too low, dude, you know? But stay tuned for tomorrow's session so we can tackle that particular question. Mr. Jeff C., great to hear. It looks like we're going to start marketing for you here and integrating your prospect master account. That's not a problem. So I'll have Mr. Steve Clutch get a hold of you, walk you through the marketing and order process, and make sure that we get your marketing started here. Now, whenever you purchase any of our marketing packages, guys, we give you about 2 to 5 days to get up and running. We understand that you guys are busy, so there is a grace period, right? There's a grace period on there. At the very least, we would like to know what area we're marketing for you so that our marketing team can start the data entry and the scraping process, okay? But we do give you about an extra 2 to 5 days to get up and running, and at that point, you know, the billing cycle will start. All the packages are month to month, right? We've designed it that way because I have found that most of the investors get overwhelmed or have, you know, after a couple months, they have a lot of leads that they can follow up on. And so at that point, it really comes down to, look, you need to follow up and work these leads. You've got like 70 sitting in your inbox. I think you could have done a deal a long time ago simply by just picking up the phone and calling some of these people back, right? We'll take a look at people's workspaces or their lead databases, and it just follow up. Toya says that's exactly what we talked about. I know, Toya, I'm psychic. All right, so Jeff C., thanks. Looking forward to marketing with you. If you can type in your phone number so that I can have our office contact you today, get that processed. And who else do we have on here? Mr. Chris, local LA lifeguard, thank you for touching base and checking in. Yes, that's correct. You guys were not able to get a hold of me all weekend. I was at a 3-day workshop training on new real estate marketing strategies, things that we can do for the business, structure-wise, operational-wise, covering a wide variety of topics, publicity, marketing, and it's absolutely fantastic. This next workshop is going to be held in August, and I will be attending that one myself, and I strongly encourage everybody to make time for it. Steve, do you know when that workshop is going to be? I think it was 7 through 10. I don't have my binder on me where I took some notes, but it's going to be in August.
No, I do remember that. No, you got the dates correct because the 9th is my birthday, so I remember that.
Right on. You see how Steve
Come out and
dropped that on
celebrate
there?
with me.
Steve wears a size large t-shirt, 9 shoes. August 9 is his birthday. But if you guys can, I would strongly recommend attending that particular workshop. It's not a workshop that I hold. I'm not speaking at least not yet. I know I could probably get on and talk about a few things on it, but purely as a participant, the value, the training, and the education, it will rival it will surpass any of the other workshops and bigger franchises and educational companies out there. In fact, they're actually going to have Robert Kiyosaki has expressed interest in coming out for that series, and they're going to have a killer lineup ranging from Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, the geniuses behind the marketing campaigns for the real estate operations of the Trump organization, the Rich Dad organization. Absolutely fantastic. August 7 through 10. Once we have more info on it, Henry, and for everybody else that's interested, we'll send it out to the group. It is it is somewhat exclusive. I mean, slots are extremely limited on these sessions, but I will strongly recommend you guys go there. We've already committed to going to the next one, and yeah, I mean, they're showing us how to take our business from where we're at and really just into the next level. Some of these guys are actually going to be consulting for us, not only in real estate, but for our marketing company as well, right? And again, it's super awesome, really great content. August 7th through 10, mark it down on your calendar. And once we know more about other details, it's going to be in Orlando. Once the sales copy and the letters are ready and the marketing materials, we will send it out to the group. But there will definitely be more information on it. But it's well worth it. And I've personally spend an arm and a leg on education. I do believe in it. Ongoing training and education so that you can sharpen the saw. And I'll close the session with this. Doesn't look like we have any other urgent questions, feedback, clarifications. People are starting to type in business as usual. My regulars know what to do once 10 o'clock hits around, and if there's nothing urgent, so I really appreciate that. But I'll close the session with this story, right? You've got Bob and Jim, both chopping down a tree, and they got the same axe that they both started with. Bob starts working for about an hour, takes a break, comes back, continues to chip away and chop at the tree, right? And he's got an axe. He stops, works for about an hour, takes a break, and then comes back, starts chopping away. Works for about an hour, stops again, takes a break, comes back. And the whole time Bob's doing this, right, Jim's thinking to himself, what the heck is this guy doing, right? Because, I'm working like hours on hours straight. Bob's taking like 4 breaks. I've spent the last 4 hours, right, working at this friggin' tree, trying to chop it down. And yet Bob is still making more progress. So Jim's pissed off about this, right? He's like, what the heck is going on? Finally, right, there's no surprise. Bob finishes earlier. He chops his tree down first. Jim walks over to him and is like, Bob, what are you doing, my man? Because we're both using the same axe, right? We're both chopping down the same type of tree. You're taking breaks every single hour. And I've worked straight. We're going on 6 hours here. I've been 6 hours working straight. You chopped your tree even after taking all those breaks. What is your secret? And Bob looks at Jim, right? He's looking at Jim and he's like all puzzled and confused. He's like, Jim, I wasn't taking breaks, man. I was just going off to sharpen my saw. And right then, Jim's thinking to himself, like, man, no wonder he got done right. So sometimes, guys, you really will have to, take a break, but not just kick your feet back, right? Sharpen the saw, learn new stuff, apply some of the tips, tricks, tools, and strategies, or stay on top of what's working out there in the marketplace. Now, that may mean something different for you, but the moral of the story is sharpen the saw, right? So I encourage you guys, mark August 7 through 10 down. It is a fantastic content training weekend. We're going out there again, and I'm actually bringing out my top level aces and guys that I not only do deals with, but my main go-to guys and acquisition managers. We've required our joint venture partners to go out to these because of the value that we've gotten from it and what it can do here for our business. We're going to be implementing some of the cool stuff and training that we spent and learned over the weekend sharpening our saw, and we're going to be sharing those results to you as we continue on this series. So with that, guys, thank you for hanging out. And I will have the notes posted in our website, so definitely do, that way you guys can review it. If you can't make it live, I thank you for continuing to check out our replays. If you're watching these replays on YouTube, do us a favor and type in some comments. You like it, you don't like it, you love it. Give us some feedback as well. Right? That helps us with not only our content and developing it and improving it, but it also allows us to get found on the internet and promotes good content. If you think it's good, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, right? My mission with regards to our whole 9 a.m. series was always about putting out quality content that people can access, apply in their business, so that they aren't trumped, right, by other programs out there. And so do take the time to check out the replays. Leave us a nice comment or feedback, suggestions, clarifications. The violent reactions you can save for the 9 a.m. sessions. We don't need to be posting that on YouTube's, right? But otherwise, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. We got Eric Torrente, virtual wholesaler that lives in New York, has done deals in multiple markets and territories, the kind of lifestyle where if he wanted to, at the drop of a wind, he can fly, at the drop of a whim, he can go to Los Angeles and come out, check our meetup group, simply because he can. So he'll be sharing what's working for him, some of the deals he's done recently, and what he has working in the pipeline, and how he's doing all this from a marketing standpoint. We are going to be opening out to questions to the group, okay? That way, if you guys have any questions, we only feature guys that will hold nothing back, okay, and will share what's working for them. It's going to be a pure content session. Javier, Mr. Javier, thank you for asking about the YouTube link. Let me go ahead and pull it on here so you can check it out. Guys, the YouTube channel, we have been working diligently on this, and Frank has done a fantastic job of setting up different playlists according to the content in that particular session, and so there are now a ton of videos available on there. So Javier, thank you for asking. I'm going to put it up on here, send that one to everybody so you guys can check out the YouTube link. Let me know if you can click on the link, you can access it so you can take a look at some of our playlists and videos that we have put together here for you guys. And let me just bring that over and walk you through some of the videos and playlists that you guys can now access on there. By the way, if this is the first time on your session and you're wondering who's this killer go-to webinar voice talking, no webcam or headshot talking head today. But you can also check out the website and learn a little bit about my story. I started out as a valet attendant back in 2007. Fast forward to today. We have a full real estate wholesaling and rehabbing operation. We run a marketing company, and we're doing some cool stuff on the internet. It's the kind of business model where I can take a month off traveling Southeast Asia if we wanted to. And I'm just forever grateful for real estate and marketing and all the opportunities that we want to share this content so that you guys can apply it to those of you that you really, really want it. And so there's a bunch of playlists and videos on here. Some of the videos are about an hour long. Some of the videos are about 5 minutes long. It all varies. I recommend you just check out particular playlists that are relevant to your business or your topic of interest. Okay, watch a video a day, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next live session. Thank you so much, guys. My name is Gil. On behalf of Bill, Henry, Chris McCartney, Robert Sheeman, Eric, and all of the content contributors, and of course for Mr. Steve Clutch, thank you for joining us today. Even on a Memorial Day, we had a packed house today. What I thought was going to be a 15-minute session, we killed it today. Lots of questions we had covered, so thank you. And we'll see you first thing tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. Do enjoy the fantastic weekend, and thank you to all those who have served, and for that, I know we are all grateful. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.